Okay, hello, dear Scorpio. This one is for you. This is Tarot Lumination with your love and relationship report for December 2017. Gonna make the best of it, Scorpio, all right? You got this big monster Jupiter and Scorpio thing going on, so that's kind of a big deal for you guys. What else? It's very harmonious with Neptune and Pisces, of course, for this next year or so. So it's very, very much to do with love and healing. The healing power of love is ultimately, at the highest level, it's about deep transformational soul healing. So it's a tremendous opportunity. Of course, lots of other things can happen too, but from the Tarot Illumination perspective, we kind of go big and wide and broad. And the major theme, of course, is the healing power of love. Okay? So there you go, Scorpio. You know the drill. Watch your sun, moon rising, and watch for the cross. Do that cross watching thing too. For significant others. You don't have to tell them. I won't tell. So we're reading on a assumption that there's you, a significant other, and the relationship itself, where the understanding is that the relationship has an identity, integrity, and energy of its own. And in a really loving relationship, both parties invest in the relationship. Like, what's best for us, honey? What's best for you? How can I help you? And they say the same things to you. Okay, and it's shown with evidence because love is as love does. Okay, let's have a look here. Cards are shuffled. Okay, we're going to cut, then we're going to read. I'm going to really break up the deck here because I like to break up pockets and things, little clusters that happen. I'm sure you understand. All right, here we go. So this is your energy. Okay, this is significant other, a chosen one perhaps. This will be going deep into you, Scorpio, deep into a significant other, and this is the core itself, the relationship, the status of the relationship right now. Now, we're only talking about a few weeks here, but it is a big time change period because for everybody, Saturn is moving out of Sagittarius, moving into Capricorn. So it's a big shift for you. Sagittarius was your Scorpio house of like value and values. You might have been really tested with things like money, worth, self-worth, things that you value, others, how others value you, perhaps, and so on. And having to make significant learning and changes and growth. Jupiter in Scorpio, of course, is right in your face. There's no way to avoid it. You might be feeling the energy of great benevolence, but also the expansion of things that maybe aren't working too well. And those are going to become very starkly vivid to you. And then now you're going to figure out how are we going to heal that. Okay? So this would be the momentum going forward. And underneath here, we're going to look at the circumstantial energy. That's pervasive energy that's not necessarily you or yours or theirs. It's just circumstantial. Think of it as the weather, and you're going to make the best of it. Okay, Scorpio? So you have the Knight of Pentacles, which pretty much says what we just said. You're going to make the best of it. The Knight of Pentacles is really good, solid, wholesome energy. And if that's what's being, let's say, noticed by you in your circumstances, your environment, that there is a lot of really good intention here, really good potential, really good, wholesome, solid, evidence, like love is as love does. In other words, your actions and behavior are very loving, and you are witnessing loving actions and behavior and decisions from a significant other, no matter the challenge. The intention is for the ultimate good and best of each other, which means for the relationship. In other words, dear honey, let's just say we love each other very much. What are we going to do now with all these big changes coming up so that it works for us? Because I love you very much, and I know you love me very much because I've seen it. I'm a witness. I've seen it. I'm a witness. And it's evident both ways. So let's have a look. Okay, whoa. Okay, so you're taking charge. The Chariot here, my feeling here, it indicates that you're kind of already on top of this, Scorpio. It's almost like you've been really looking forward to this for the last 12 years. It's like it's about time. So it's the whole idea of like taking control and making the decision to make good, healthy, loving decisions moving forward in life. Understanding that there's a whole new landscape unfolding in front of you, a new 12-year cycle unfolding, and this is the time to grab it. This is the time to like get in the vehicle. Let's call the relationship a vehicle. Get in there, start it up, make sure it's fully gassed up and loaded, and that you are totally on your game, and you have mastered all your shadow energies so that they don't own you anymore, and you are fully conversant with all your true strengths and powers and gifts and talents moving forward, and you're going to make the best of it like you are literally blessed from above. Jupiter, the great benefic, shining down upon you. Okay? Thank you so much, Scorpio. That's the end of your reading. Bye. Just kidding. Sorry. Anyway. So that's kind of awesome. I don't see any arrogance or anything like that or egomania here. I just see the energy of a Scorpio person who is determined to make things work in a way that is most loving for self and for the other, by making good, courageous, loving decisions in the context of a loving relationship. Okay, let's have a look at the other. Okay. Oh, whoa. Scorpio, you scored, man. That's how I feel it with this little reading here. Just for now, just for December. I don't know if this is going to be, I don't want to overdo it here, but this is a very beautiful card to have in that position, Scorpio. So you might be on the receiving end, and you might not even know how awesome this other person is, Scorpio, because this is love. This is just like a fountain of love. You, Scorpio, might be in the very fortunate position of being in a very deeply, profoundly loving relationship with someone who is deeply, profoundly loving. Okay? That is their nature. They just love. Okay? They don't know anything else. They don't know how to be anything else. And they love themselves very, very dearly too, because they would not be able to radiate this energy of such like divine love without love of self. Now, it may not be apparent to others in obvious ways, but it is there at the very core. And also, my feeling for you, Scorpio, is that you're relating with someone who also sees you and this loving relationship as a golden opportunity for them to resonate at the levels that they might have always dreamed that could be possible. Like they might not have ever had the chance to be or resonate as the Ace of Cups in any kind of situation before now, but now they are seeing it and feeling it. It's like a big switch is getting turned on. Like, bing! Wow. I am the significant other of this Scorpio person, and I now feel as though I can be loving and be loved in the most pure and powerful and profound ways possible on this earth. Thank you very much. And it is a golden opportunity, and they're going for it. So you, Scorpio, are extremely lucky. And that might be something to do with the Jupiter and Scorpio transit right now. So there's a lot of this going on, Scorpio. A lot of this. Okay? And it's very, very mutual. Okay? And I don't see this going to your head either. I see this as something that is very much like wholesome and grounded and well-meaning, in that you have the very best of intentions for a loved one, and a loved one has the very best of intentions for you. And it's expressed in very, very, let's say, comprehensive, reality-based manners. In other words, what can I do for you? Oh, I would love another cup of tea. Okay, let me get that for you. Or like, what can I do for you? Hey, would you help me do my math? Or would you help me sort out the finances for the month because we're in a real mess? And you say, sure, of course. Thank you for asking. It's that kind of energy, okay? We're two parties who are deeply loving and deeply vested in each other. Let's have a look deep inside of you, Scorpio. What else is going on? Poof! Man, there's a lot of big cards here. Some very significant cards. Well, this is very significant for you, Scorpio. It might be, again, this might be something to do with Jupiter and Scorpio, like really, really, really resonating with you, where you are really actually like tuning into it. Maybe it's just happening unconsciously, or maybe you've been prepping for this and you've been aware for it, and you now see this as a golden time for you, a golden opportunity for this next year where you can really, really, let's say, have a chance to shine like you've never had the chance before, except maybe 12 years ago, or even 12 years before that. So with the Magician here, you know, in some ways it can be a very delicate card because it's very much about decision making and making the right decisions about what are you going to do with all your power? How are you going to manifest what you want to manifest? How are you going to do it in ways that are effective? You know you have all the resources. You've got whatever it is you need is at hand. It's almost like being like multi-talented and naturally gifted. And then there's the question of what are we going to do with all of that? Because, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And so in the exercise of that power, not just for you, Scorpio, but in the context of a relationship, my feeling is that here it's really important to be very careful, very, let's say, thoughtful, very conscientious, very respectful, very courteous. Pay very, very close attention to your loved one, your significant other, and not get too carried away with your own awesomeness so that you don't, like, you know, take this beautiful chariot and just run off into the ditch because you get too carried away. It's so easy to do with all that Jupiter energy. It could be feel so supercharged, like you can do anything. You can fly to the moon and back before lunch, you know? So all I'm suggesting here is that, yeah, okay, it's great to have this new awakening, this new benevolence, this new chance of growth and abundance. It's just be deep down, I think you're aware of that. I think you know that you have to bring all that power into spiritual alignment. Like there are so many opportunities and choices for you. Just be very, very wise about how to do that. I'm not telling you what to do. This is your energy that you're radiating. I was actually kind of reading it as like what Terra Lumination had to tell you. But really, this is your energy. This is you exercising your power to maximum effect for the manifestation of your best version of yourself. You know that, you sense that, you feel that what's going on, that's what's happening, and it's going to happen. And it could happen very much in the worlds of communication. Saturn is going to be moving into Capricorn, which would be your solar third house of, you know, communications, listening, speaking, understanding, learning, teaching. So you might have a tremendous amount to offer the world in that way, which is only just becoming apparent and will eventually blossom over the next year. And a lot of that would be very contingent on this very loving relationship. It's almost like you are one thing, like you're one being, because there's so much invested together here in the relationship. You're investing in them, they're investing in you. It's almost like a business, the business of a loving relationship, how to have a loving relationship and make it work. So what's going on with them on the inside? Okay, they might be a little scared. It might be that there's so much energy that's being exchanged between these two parties here that there's this fear of like, wow, like, okay, this is wonderful. Wow, it's so luscious and loving between us. Thank you very much, darling. But does that mean I'm going to be trapped? Does that mean, in other words, there could be a little bit of fear here with the significant other, where the significant other might be thinking, wait a minute, just because I am so loving and I'm so loved by you, that's beautiful. But does that mean you're going to turn into, I'm getting very, very simplistic here, turn into a monster and try and own me? Like people do that. They things like jealousy happen. Like when there's so much love flowing and then something happens where it feels like there's a threat to the love, it can be very amplified and magnified, where the things that were so awesome can suddenly be very scary. Like, what happens if you mess up with so much potential here, with so much love? What happens if you make really important decisions that are actually detrimental to the loving relationship? That's very, very scary. There's a lot at risk. It might feel that for the significant other, that there's a lot at risk here because of the idea of being, let's say, bound into this situation as opposed to just loving. There's a difference between, let's say they just love, they're just being loving, being who they are. And then the whole idea of having that like captivated, like it's bottled, owned, like a piece of merchandise, that's not so appealing. That could be very frightening for such a very, very pure, loving person. Also, with this energy, I feel obliged to comment, Scorpio, about the energy of lust and the delicious aspects that can happen in a relationship where it's actually okay, to when people come together and they relate to that level of lovingness, sometimes it becomes so animalistic that people can't resist each other. And there's nothing shameful about that. We are, human beings, and we are genetically programmed to be attracted to certain people to the point where we literally can't resist. And then it turns into that coupling action, which results in things like children or ecstasy and beautiful, beautiful senses of deep, intimate bonding. Those experiences can be very frightening because they can be so profound, but they can also be very binding, and they could be the glue that holds the relationship together. Nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with having let's say, cycles of passion, of intimacy and separation, where the energy of passion is openly indulged, openly enjoyed, deliciously shared as a beautiful gift without shame, without the feeling like, oh, that's obscene, that's disgusting. Not at all. What I'm feeling here for you, Scorpio, is that you just happen to be extremely fortunate to have someone here who at some core level of their being is very, very pure, very loving. They love and they are loved. So it is reciprocal. It's just very daunting in some ways to themselves, to come to their own realization in the context of this relationship, how loving they are and how deeply they are loved. It can be frightening, especially in a worldly three-dimensional terms. How does that translate? In other words, if we're talking about like, universal love, because that Jupiter and Scorpio thing is so deeply harmonized with Neptune and Scorpio right now. There's a tremendous sense of divine love, divinity, love at the highest frequencies, universal love, love of mankind, love of others, unequivocal, without it having to be in terms of like bondage or like, I love you so much, I own you. None of that. So that could be a little bit of fear there, but it can also be very deliciously satisfying. Two aspects of this energy that I'm feeling obliged to tell you, Scorpio. So it's very delicious, but it's just, you don't want to get too carried away with this because there's so much at stake here. That's what I'm feeling, all right? But the intentions are good, both ways. Let's have a look. Okay. That really shook me. I'm just letting you know, Scorpio. Oh, I don't know what to say without sounding like I'm going completely overboard. But this is like true love. This is what I'm feeling here, Scorpio. Maybe you sense it, maybe you know it. Maybe they sense it, maybe they know it. Maybe it's scary for them. Maybe it puts huge responsibilities on you. But at the very, very core, Scorpio, you might be in a love dynamic right now with a particular significant other that is either simmering or brewing, or it's right now, or it's coming on its way in the context of this relationship where it's It's like love of the highest order. It is literally that I love you, I love you. And you don't have to explain it or justify it. It's just very, very pure. It's that energy of I love you very, very much. I love you very, very much. I care for you. I want what is best for you because what is best for you is good for me. And what's good for me is good for you. And we're going to invest in this relationship. It's a very beautiful, simple, pure, pure thing. So, whew, okay, that sounds great, but that's an awful lot of pressure, Scorpio. To have the Two of Cups as the status and the condition and the nature of this relationship, it's absolutely beautiful. I don't want to spoil it. I'm scared to pull this card. Okay. what it feels to me here with the Two of Wands here is that this whole thing opens up a whole new world for you, Scorpio, and for a significant other. New horizons that could only come into being in the context of this very deeply loving, very deeply significant relationship. And it may baffle both of you. It may baffle you. It may take you to the extremes of your capacities and abilities, not just your gifts, but decision making. And it might frighten the significant other and like, what does this really mean for me? Does it mean that true love becomes tainted by, let's say, the animal side of things? Or does it work? We don't know because this is all like contextual. This is like fluid. This is like in the moment now. This is what's happening in December, and it's going to unfold through December, okay? Because big changes are happening here. In December, we got that huge Jupiter and Scorpio thing that just happened. You got a whole year of that, Scorpio. Saturn is moving into Capricorn. We're going to have 3 years for that, and that's very harmonious energy for you. It works very, very comfortably with you. So I see this as very, very beautiful for you, Scorpio, but please think big. Please think long term. Please, please, Scorpio, understand how incredibly lucky you are, especially like to have this kind of person in your life with this kind of soul to the point where it translates into a relationship that anyone on this planet would dream of. Like this to me this is very rare to see this here in a reading like this. So it's very beautiful. It's kind of scary for me. So I don't want to overload the reading, but it is very beautiful. And it leads to new worlds, new lives, new possibilities for both parties, but it's still too new to even hardly define it at this point. But believe, gosh, I'm getting so carried away. I feel like, but believe me, the intentions are good and it's wholesome and it's good for you and it's good for them and it's good for the whole world. Okay? Gosh. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Bye. Thank you very much. Oh no, hold on. Wait a minute. I'm going to put this over here as reference. And if you have to, you can stop, rewind, pause, play, however you want to do it. Okay, please make the best of it. Reinterpret however you need to, Scorpio. Wow. Love you guys. Thanks for coming to Tarot Lumination. Bye-bye, and all the very best.